Though you will see click to continue and replay buttons in this video, these features are not supported by this format. You may want to pause the video when you see these buttons. If you want these features and the supplemental slides and files that correspond to the video, then enroll in the course at biztricks.us. If you've worked in Excel, then you've likely used the pivot table feature, which makes it easy to reform data that is presented in a database table format. I'll illustrate with a simple example. As noted in Course 1, we don't always get to pick the architectural design of the table, so you must work with what you have. This table has an order ID, order date, product ID, product category, quantity, and price. Additionally, the table has over 1 million records. My boss asked me to summarize the data in the following way: year down the rows, product across the columns, and quantity within the table. As noted in the data, I need to perform data transformations to make such an output. I could use a pivot table in Excel to generate this table, but the data exceeds Excel's limitation. I'll start by summarizing the data. I'll change the dates into years, add product category, and some quantity. This drastically reduces the data size to 40 rows instead of over 1 million, but it doesn't place product category across the columns. I'll illustrate in Excel using a pivot table. I'll replicate the same thing in SQL using the pivot function. The base query for the pivot function is already created, so the first step is complete. The second step is to place this query into a subquery. The third step is to add the pivot function underneath the subquery. As the web page shows, the subquery is the select statement that follows the from keyword. Pivot follows this subquery. Now I need to decide which aggregate function to use and the columns to aggregate. In this case, I want to sum product quantity. Next comes the for keyword, followed by the column that will appear in the header of the output. I want product category to appear in the header. Next comes the in keyword with a list of the column values I want to appear in the header. Product category has values like bakery and vision, which I saw when I ran the top 100 query. These values must appear in square brackets because the values may have spaces. I'll start by using bakery only. Lastly, I need to give the pivot table an alias. I can order the table if I want. I'll go make the updates to the query. Now run the query. Nice, I have a pivot of bakery. It's not necessary to include the group by clause in the subquery because pivot takes care of that for us. So I'll comment that out, remove the sum function, and rerun the query to illustrate. I have bakery, but I need the remaining values for product category. Again, these must be enclosed in square brackets and separated by a comma. How you do this step is up to you. I'll show 2 ways. I'll start with Excel and then show SQL.